What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out. It's becoming a weekly thing now. Gotta be honest, I kinda like it. But you know what I don't like? These box office numbers, which is also becoming a weekly thing now. Because, it's the end of June, and blockbuster season started. And yeah, the movies that should have been making the money, well, it ain't making the money, but I digress. Speaking of digressing, speaking of it's me, I said it already, G1. And I am by myself once again, and that is quite okay, because people are living their lives and doing what they have to do right now, which makes all the sense in the world, which means I am flying solo again, and it's probably going to be that way for the foreseeable future when it comes to this podcast, The Geek Out. I mean, there'll be others. A couple of Geek Out reviews we'll do where I got people, I'm dropping things, I'm sorry. But look, neither here nor there. Let's get into it. As I've done the previous several weeks, I gotta talk about this box office because I'm a movie guy, and June had the type of movies I wanted to see. And holy smokes, let's start it off. Number one this weekend, swinging back to the number one spot, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. You can't contain Spider-Man. Miles Morales is kicking all types of ass in the box office. I gotta be honest with you too. I have this crazy theory, right? And it's just a theory. The movie is fantastic. I love it. But do you know what I believe? I believe that this movie has the traction and legs that it does because of, dare I say, teenage girls who are absolutely in love with Miles Morales. And not just Miles, okay? Spoiler, this movie's been out for about a month now. But evil Miles from Universe 42 at the end of the movie. Look, as crazy as that sounds, the last time I saw this in the movie theater with my buddy, there were a group of teenage girls sitting in a row right in front of us. They were sitting, actually, we were sitting in the first row of the second section, right? So you have that gap. You come in the theater, you have that big gap walkway, and then it's broken into two sections for some theaters, like smaller theaters like we were in. So you had the stadium seats, that go to the back. We were in the first row of that. And then these girls were in the last row of the first section, right? So basically all that separated us was a walkway. I'm going to tell you something. I was cracking up. They were swooning when, Bad Miles, the Prowler Miles, took the mask off at the end of that movie. They were swooning. And I'm like, look at this. It reminded me of that part in So I Married an Axe Murderer when he's like singing about Saturday morning cartoons, and he's like, Josie and those pussycats. And that's my theory. I think this movie has legs because of young teenage girls. And I'm not saying that's the legit reason. A theory. It's like the Titanic effect. Bunch of dudes weren't going to see the Titanic constantly. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't keep doing date night at Titanic. One, the movie's too damn long. And two, if you're like me, it's boring as hell. The best part comes at the end, right? I'm just there to see the Titanic sink. But girls wanted to see Leo. Oh, they was going to see Leo. They weren't seeing Kate Winslet. Paint me like one of your French girls. They weren't going to see her. They was going to see Leonardo DiCaprio. He was a heartthrob. And now it seems like evil Miles Morales is a cartoon heartthrob. So that's just a theory. It's just a theory. The movie made, what did it make this weekend? $19 million to take the number one spot in its fourth week in release. But, the real story is The Flash. That's the real story. And my God, that movie opened up last week at $55 million, which was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Last week I thought maybe, after the first week the reviews will go out, you'll start hearing word of mouth from people. Hey, this is actually a good fun movie. Should go check it out, and maybe there'd be a bounce back. That's a lie. That didn't. Whoo-wee. The Flash fell to third place in its second weekend, taking in only $15 million. Elemental, which came out last week alongside of The Flash, took the number 2 spot with $18 million. This is crazy. This is crazy, and I want to focus this little block right here on that, because I have a question. What does this mean for the DC movies going forward? Because this is supposed to be the end of the Snyderverse, and Blue Beetle is supposed to be the beginning of something else. And to me personally, Blue Beetle doesn't look that appetizing. To me, that's a movie I might wait for HBO Max. And don't get me wrong, I love Jaime in the comic books. Jaime's my dude in the comics. I love Blue Beetle in the comics. I loved what they did in Young Justice season 1 and 2. Especially season 2, fantastic stuff with the Blue Beetle done there. But the movie, not so much. It looks like Iron Man for teenagers, and I'm not trying to be negative there. It's aimed at a young adult audience. That's what it feels like to me, and I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. So I don't know if that's going to do anything. I mean, Shazam 2 came out, and I thoroughly enjoyed Shazam 2, but that flopped also. It flopped. Matter of fact, I have the box office up here. Let me see where Shazam. Look at this. It can't be. Wait a minute. Oh, never mind. That's just this weekend. All right. But Shazam 2, it flopped. It didn't make any money. It's freaking sad, actually. It's sad, actually. So with the Flash doing what it's doing, and that's absolutely nothing, what happens next with Blue Beetle, right? And then after that, at the end of the year, in December, if I'm not mistaken, you've got Aquaman 2. And now look, Jason Momoa is, I think he has some, like, not box office draw, but I think he made Aquaman cool as fuck. And I'm an Aquaman fan from way back in the days with the Super Friends. So listen to me, man. I can't lie. I like blonde hair, blue-eyed, pale skin, orange scaled shirt, and the green wetsuit pants Aquaman that talks to fish. I like that Aquaman. And shit, back in what? I would say 2002, 2003, when I was fan casting the Justice League movie in my brain, to me it was a no-brainer. I would have Matthew McConaughey play Aquaman. That's where I was going. I swear to God. I would have had Matthew McConaughey play Aquaman, but I would have had him play Aquaman from the Justice League animated series, the Aquaman from the comic book that lost his arm from Black Manta, grew his hair out, grew the beard out, was just a savage. Matthew McConaughey playing that version of Aquaman because of his role in Reign of Fire. I was like, oh, he's perfect. He's perfect. That's what I would have done. But then Jason Momoa, when I saw that picture, when Justice League was coming out and it was like Unite the Seven, I was like, oh my God, there it is. That's Aquaman. So I have no qualms about it. But what happens with what we're seeing now this year with the DC movies? What happens? Is it going to be successful? Or is this literally the beginning of the end of the DC movies? Now that scares me a bit because I'm a huge DC fanboy. I make no mistake. No questions about it. I'm a huge DC fanboy. I love Batman. That's my number one dude. Yep, say what you will, but I do. I love Batman. But outside of Batman, I mean, like, you got Superman. Here's the thing. Is James Gunn enough to come in and right the ship? I think he's got all the ingredients to do so, right? Here's another theory why I think Flash is failing, flailing, flopping, slopping, just stinking up the joint. I think people not only boycotted it because, well, Ezra Miller had certain issues. Again, like I said last week, I don't go see the movie for Ezra Miller. I go see the movie for The Flash. Ezra Miller just so happens to be playing The Flash, and he played it to perfection. I thoroughly enjoyed Ezra Miller. But that's not why I was there. I wasn't there because I was like, oh, Ezra Miller causes controversy. Let me go see his movie. Nope. I want to see The Flash. I wanted to see how they ended the Snyderverse. And I loved it. So I believe a lot of it had a lot of this negative box office. And I mean, honestly, there's no mistaking it. The Flash is a flop. It's a flop. It's a failure. It's not making its money back. This is bad business for Warner Brothers, and they know it. And you know they know it because they haven't come out and said anything. James Gunn, who was propping this movie up before it came out, has been radio silent. And I really want to see when they start to talk. I want to see what is said, like what happens, what's next. But another theory, a theory I do believe too, also played a role in all of this is James Gunn. As crazy as that sounds. But I do believe that James Gunn revamping the universe, one, that's a good thing. But saying goodbye to Henry Cavill, I think it turned off a lot of DC people. Because look, people went ballistic for Black Adam. And Black Adam is by no means a better movie than The Flash. It's not. It's not. It's fun. It's enjoyable. The Rock is doing his thing. But the whole setup at the end, and The Rock was smart about this. He knew this is what people's gonna want. He absolutely knew it, and I believe that. Henry Cavill back in the cape, it made sense. The dude did not get a fair shake at it, and I'm not gonna sit here and shit on Zack Snyder for that. But BVS was not it. It was not it. I love Man of Steel. Absolutely love it. I do. But BVS had everything to succeed, and for me, it just was meh. But Zack Snyder's Justice League was a fucking unbelievable flick. Beautiful. I love it. But I honestly think, there's a theory of mine, a lot of people were turned off by the fact that, oh no, they took Henry Cavill away. Well, fuck it. Why would we want to even see this? Like, why waste our time? And if that is the case, that might spell doom for DC going forward. That might spell doom for DC when James Gunn drops his Superman movie. And I believe in that movie. I believe in James Gunn. He got 3 Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and all 3 combined, I think, making over $2 billion. So that's a success. That's playing in Marvel's, sandbox. I like James Gunn's Suicide Squad. I did. Violent, bloody, hard R, cursing. It was fun. It was fun. I like the Peacemaker show. I really do. It's fun. It's crazy. It's just, it doesn't make sense that they can do something like that in a universe that seemed all dark and depressing. I loved it. But what do we get going forward? Are the people not going to show up to these things? James Gunn is promoting the shit out of Blue Beetle, saying this movie is fantastic. I can't wait for y'all to see it. And it just does not seem like people care. It does not seem like people care. And it's not superhero fatigue. It is absolutely not superhero fatigue. And you know why I know that? Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That's how I know that. Domestically, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse made $316 million. That's fantastic. $316 million domestically in 4 weeks. You know how much Guardians of the Galaxy made domestically in 8 weeks? $351 million. So Spider-Man in 4 weeks is what? 30 some odd million away? 40 some odd million away? Yeah, 40, 34, whatever. 35 some odd million away from Guardians of the Galaxy in half the time domestically. Because worldwide, Guardians of the Galaxy is like number 2 worldwide in the box office. Only after the monster that is Super Mario Brothers. I still can't believe that one. I love it. Oh my God, Mario is crushing. I gotta do it. You know how you do it. You know I gotta do it. Number 1 worldwide, Mario with $1.3 billion. Number 2, Guardians Volume 3, coming in at $824 million. Number 3, Fast X, coming in with the $696 million. It's crazy. And then Across the Spider-Verse is like right behind him. And these are just the movies from America. I'm not counting anything in different countries because we don't get to see them like that. But Spider-Man sitting at $559 million worldwide. That's not bad. That's not bad. So, I mean, Transformers, you know. Oh, look. Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Here we go. Perfect examples right here. Worldwide, it fizzled out at $132 million. It made $57 million domestically. That's not going to make it. That's not going to make it. Domestically, The Flash right now is at 87 million. Internationally, The Flash is sitting at 123 million. It's got 210 million worldwide in its second week, but The Flash costs money to make, and I don't think it's going to recoup that money. And Jesus, Indiana Jones comes out this weekend. Indiana Jones is taking a bite out of the box office. Flash is going to fall even further. You know? I don't know. So it's something else. I'll tell you that. I am shocked. I can't lie. I am shocked. But at the same time, there are reasons. You know, there's the elephant in the room, Ezra Miller, and people might not wanted to see him. And like I said, I believe the Henry Cavill thing. I do. It's crazy. It's crazy. But that's enough for the box office. Honestly, The Flash is going to go down bad. It's really going to... Look at this, man. The Flash made $15 million this weekend and literally just edged out No Hard Feelings, the Jennifer Lawrence movie that dropped this weekend, you know, first weekend. Just edged it out by $142,000. That's it. So that's how close Flash was to being number 4 at the box office. And then my good friend, my good buddy Transformers. Oh, God. Oh, $11 million. It's over. Hurry up and go to Paramount Plus, Transformers. I'm going to go see it in the theater again. One last go. I love that movie. I don't care. Stand by it. I had Spider-Man one week and Transformers the next, and I was in heaven. I was in blissful heaven, and I was like, and the Flash is coming. I can't wait. And for me, I enjoyed all 3 of those movies a lot. But some people hated the Flash. Let's jump off of Flash hate and got to talk about this. When I got off last week, when I stopped the podcast last week, a trailer had dropped, and I was like, shit, I wish I would have seen the trailer before I even started the podcast. I would have talked about it then. But I had a whole week to simmer and sit on it. Sony. Let me just say this real quick. Spider-Man, good. Kraven, bad. Look. I don't understand Sony at all. I really don't. They can pull off an amazing Spider-Man movie, no pun intended, when it comes to live action with No Way Home. I love that movie. Love that. That's my favorite Spider-Man movie. It's my favorite Spider-Man movie. You know why? They bring 3 generations of Spider-Man on film together, and it blew my mind. Never been done before. I love that. And I don't want to hear, multiverse. No. Never been done. Remember, all 3 those are generational movies. Tobey Maguire came out, like in 2000? Maybe earlier than that? I don't even remember. And then the Andrew Garfield duology, which after watching it again, I actually like those movies a lot more than I ever gave him credit for the first time go round. And then the Tom Holland stuff. Yes, he's playing in the Marvel Universe. Yes, I get that. That's why I loved it so much. There was a direction and I loved it, but damn it, No Way Home is my favorite Spider-Man movie. And then they do Across the Spider-Verse as their not even a sequel to that movie, but they play with it. You know that scene. Don't even get me started about that nerd and Doctor Strange from Earth, whatever it was. You know, canon. Seeing oh my God, seeing this dude in from the first Spider-Man movie. Anyway, the Prowler. I always forget his name, and it's Childish Gambino. I'm sorry, but I digress. But for all of that dope Spider-Man content we get, hell, the PlayStation games. Are you serious? For all of that dope Spider-Man content we get, Sony is content with shoving shit down our throats within the Spider-Man universe. And I ain't lying. Ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen. Culprit number 1. Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. Come on, man. Let's not fuck around. That movie was bad. That movie was bad. I liked the first Venom. I had a good time with the first Venom. But Let There Be Carnage? Oh, no. I rolled my eyes so many times in that movie theater. They look like Gina Davis in Beetlejuice when she rolls her eyes back and they fall in the back of her head and they come out of her mouth. That's what it was. I was like, oh God. I hated that movie. I watched it once. I went by myself, right? And then when my wife wants to see it, and I'm like, all right, we'll get to it sometime. I'm just waiting for it to come on TV for free. I don't pay for that. I don't want to pay for that. Culprit number 2, and let's not shoot the shit here. Sony was fucking gassing themselves with this one. But Morbius, it's Morbin time. Listen, Sony. Seriously? Nobody wanted a fucking Morbius movie. Nobody. Except for Jared Leto, apparently. But nobody was looking for a Morbius movie. It made no sense. And I watched it when it came on Netflix. I did. Sat there and watched it, and it was utter disappointment. I was like, oh, God. This is trash. And then Sony had the balls to re-release it. In theaters. Because of a meme. It's crazy. Absolutely nuts. So then we get this. Kraven the Hunter. Are you kidding me? Kraven the Hunter. Look, I like Aaron Taylor Johnson a lot. I really, really, really do, okay? I liked them in Kick-Ass. I sure as shit liked them in Godzilla 2014. I don't care what nobody says. I thought he actually fit the perfect soldier in a situation that is, unbelievable. He's put in a literal unbelievable situation, and instead of acting like some weirdo and freaking out and trying to be this gung-ho superhero, he does his job. He sets in and does, well, I can't do nothing about giant monsters, so I gotta do whatever I know how to do. I got to focus on the work. So I loved him in that. He was Quicksilver for a stint, one movie. I didn't hate it. What? You didn't see that coming? I didn't hate it. Bullet Train, thoroughly enjoyed it. He's in a bunch of other movies that I haven't seen. They're just not my taste, my cup of tea. But Bullet Train, I thoroughly loved him in. I love the kid. I wish he was James Bond, to be honest with you. I wish he was the next James Bond. Him or Henry Cavill, to be honest with you. And that's only because I know their body of work. And they're British, apparently. But this Kraven thing, I mean, like, dude. Really? You needed that type of paycheck like that? Like, I don't... that trailer looked terrible. What's Russell Crowe up to? Like, why is he doing... All of a sudden, he goes from being Jor-El, right, in Man of Steel and BVS, to Zeus. No, not Zeus. Yeah, Zeus. Yeah, Zeus. And Thor Love and Thunder. And now he's Kraven's father? Come on, man. Kraven doesn't even speak Russian. I don't know. He gets his powers because, first off, he has powers. That bogged my mind. I always thought Kraven was supposed to be just like this ultimate hunter, right? I didn't know he had superpowers, but I could be totally wrong. Because in Marvel, in the comic books at least, everybody has a superpower. Everybody does. It's crazy. It's crazy. Think about it. I'm not making that up. Everybody has a superpower. So who knows? Maybe he does have superpowers in the comics and this is accurate. But I mean, this literally looked like the trailer for Morbius. When Morbius is in the bat cave, for crying out loud, and the bats go flying all around him and he's bleeding and he turns into a vampire. Come on. Stop. And the same thing happened here. He gets bit by a lion and some blood from the lion goes into his open wound, and now he has the powers to control animals and act like animals. Nah, man. Pass me with this. Sony, you gotta stop this madness, man. You've got to stop this madness. I know it seems like you ain't got nothing else but Spider-Man that's keeping you afloat. Work on your video games, right? Get into them studios and say, hey, give us a new Resistance. Give us a new Killzone. Give us a new Infamous. Well, maybe not. Infamous is just me being very greedy. I love that series. But give us a first-person shooter that comes from our studios. Do something different. See where that takes you. But stop trying to make a Sinister Six thing. Even without you saying it's a Sinister Six thing. We all know what you're trying to do. I mean, at the end of the damn trailer, the freaking Rhino pops up. And he injects himself with something. It looked terrible. And that was the Red Band trailer. So, they're giving you all the blood and the gore and stuff. And I'm still like, yeah, nah, this is not it. So, I ain't going to see it. Sony, stop it. Stop it. But you know what's funny? And this is a good litmus test here. Is Kraven going to do better than The Flash? Is Kraven going to do better than The Flash opening weekend? We shall see. That's going to be some interesting conversations. And that'll do it for the movies. But before we go, I do want to do a quick review. Nothing crazy, nothing long. But I would be remiss if I don't talk about Legendary's Skull Island animation that dropped on Netflix this past weekend. I was home on Friday. I had no idea it was out. I've been playing Far Cry Primal, and I was having fun being a caveman Unca Bunca, right? And then I take a break from the game real quick, scroll through my feed, and I see that pop up, and I go, oh, wait a minute. Skull Island's on. I got to watch it, so I put it on. It's 8 episodes. They are relatively short. I think the longest episode is 25 minutes. They range from 20 to 22 minutes. So it's not bad. It goes by pretty quick if you're really enjoying it. I will say I can see I loved it. I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. There is some gore in it, not like extreme gore, but there's like enough to make you go, holy crap. There's good blood work. There's limbs getting torn up. There's some good stuff there, right? But it's animated, and it is for kids. The animation, I gotta say, first off, is beautiful. The animation itself is beautiful. I love that style of animation. I forget the studio, but my hat goes off to that studio for doing it. But yeah, it's a nice, it's a nice setup. It's a nice entry in the Kong mythos that Legendary's got going on. I will say that. It takes place 20 years from the first movie, so we're sitting around 1993, because I believe the first movie was set in 73. So that's all fine and dandy. But yeah, like I said, 8 episodes. It goes by pretty quick. Kong shows up. Early on, I think episode 2, I think episode 2, definitely episode 3. Actually, yeah, Kong roars in episode 2. He's there in episode 3, but he's not like the main star of the show. But you get to episode 7, and I gotta tell you something. You get to episode 7 is exactly what this show needed to be from the jump. Episode 7, it's good. The title of the episode is You're Not a King, You're Just a Stupid Animal. That episode was, man, that was my favorite. That was my favorite thing with Kong. It had everything. It had Kong's mannerisms, his character, his personality shone through. And I loved it because just like typical Kong stuff and throughout the lore, it's with a female, it's with a girl, it's with, a young lady. And he doesn't come off as like in 76 Kong, where he kind of like, pulling down the dress. He doesn't come off like that. Comes off as like a girl and her pet animal. It's just that her pet animal is this gigantic monkey. But you see him fighting creatures on Skull Island, and I mean getting down. There's these chameleon creatures that were pretty cool, and he does the damn thing in that fight. That was dope. I'm pretty sure a skull crawler pops up in that episode. There was just a lot of cool things. One thing about this Kong show, you see so much more wildlife on Skull Island, and I loved it. It's not just what you're seeing already from the movies. They add things. There's more things. The main antagonist thing, that monster, this underwater creature kraken thing. Man, I tell you right now, Ghidorah. If you know, you know. I'm just saying, Ghidorah. Stop. Legendary doesn't own the rights to Ghidorah. But if you know, you know. I was like, holy crap. It was great. I dug it. Episode 7 was perfect. It's a flashback episode. You get to see Kong in his element, and he's kicking all sorts of monster ass. And I loved it. And it tugged on the heartstrings too. It's like Kong can't catch a break. Thoroughly enjoyed that episode. It's my favorite episode of all this whole series so far. Like, it's set up for a season 2. I don't know where else they can go without starting to toe the line between what happens in the movies or, knowing about Skull Island. It's crazy. They just like get there and it's weird. I thought like Skull Island was very hard to find. Apparently, like, people just happen upon it. Like, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, the dog is cool. I can't lie. I will say this. Legendary's version of Kong, since Kong Skull Island, has been compared to Kratos. In Kong Skull Island, he uses the anchor, right? Or not the anchor, the propeller of the ship as a blade. And it, that's the blades of Olympus, right? When Kong at the end of that movie kicks the Skullcrawler's ass. It's like the blades of Olympus. In Godzilla vs. Kong, what does he have? He has an axe. Just like the 2018 God of War. Wow, go figure, right? It's funny when you see things like that. And he's definitely Kratos here too. He's definitely like Kratos here too. So I mean, like, it's Kratos Kong. That's what I call him. Kratos Kong. It's funny as hell. And then episode 8 was good too. You get the big fight with, this sea monster thing. Characters were not offensive to me at all. I actually enjoyed the character of Charlie. It's weird. His name is Charlie and he sounds like Charlie Day. It's not Charlie Day though. It's a little grating at times. I didn't hate it. I liked Mike's character. I liked Anne's character, the girl. It was inoffensive. It was inoffensive. I liked Charlie's father, Cap. I really liked Cap. He was good. He was just a cool dude. Calm and cool under pressure. His whole thing for being was he saw something. Kind of like the dude John Goodman played in Skull Island. He saw something one day when he was younger and was like, oh shit, I need to find these things. And I personally believe he saw Godzilla. They never show it. But I like to think that he saw Godzilla. Just so you know, everything ties in. It's legendary, people. It's legendary. But I digress. It was a good show. Definitely worth a watch if you're a fan of the genre. If you like the legendary movies. It's, again, inoffensive. It's 8 fast episodes. Like I said, the longest episode is like 25 minutes. And they go quick. That first episode's a good jump off point. It's hit or miss, however you want to take it. Like if you like teenagers running around an island full of creatures, and then you'll like this. If you don't like it, you might not like that. Then just watch episode 7. Trust me when I tell you. If you gotta watch anything, just watch episode 7. It to me, it's not on the same level, but it is like the last 10 minutes of that Godzilla Singular Point episode. I want to say it was episode 10. I don't recall. But when he straight up goes straight Godzilla and the music swells and he hits the fucking atomic breath, and it is breathtaking. I love it so much. But that'll do it for this episode of The Geek Out. Went a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but that's all right. 6-7 minutes ain't going to kill me. I want to thank everybody out there for listening. And, you know, I'll be back next week because I'm going to talk a little bit about Indiana Jones, and we're going to see where that box office is again. Because boy, oh boy, it's going to be crazy. It's crazy. And yeah, hopefully listen real soon. I mean, we're coming up to July, and that countdown keeps going on that Godzilla list. So countdown to July 11th. I'm hoping to do a live stream with a couple of the peoples that always be on. I would like to have a full-blown Godzilla block party live streaming to see what happens. We don't know, but fingers crossed we get some good news. And by good news, like I said last week, hey, we're dropping that movie internationally at the same time we're dropping it in Japan for everybody. I would love it, but we shall wait and see. That'll do it for this episode of The Geek Out. I am G1, and I'm out of here. Peace.